Hi everyone, this is Richard. In this video, we are going to go over interface. Interface is one of those other fundamental concepts that we want to remember and keep in mind. So when we have an interface, it is basically how you interact with your program, not from a user level, but from a programmer level itself. So I think I made an example before of a computer where you have the actual computer itself, you have a box, and the box has separate ports to it. So USB, the PS2 for your either your mouse and or keyboard, a video port, and maybe a power port. So you have all of these things inside of the computer. Those are the interface to the computer, right? So that's what you interact with. That's not what's going on the inside of the box. That's just how you interact with it. And that's the concept that we have here. So for example, we have a class computer. We'll go over the abstract in just a minute. We have class computer. And then we have the instance variables, right? Or in other words, these are the members that you can interact with once you make it an object. And then you have a method right here, okay? So boot up either returns your computer is on or your computer is off. Okay, this is just nonsense, but I'm just making it for an example, okay? So if power is true, so in other words, power is on, then your computer is on. If power is off, then your computer is off, okay? So when you think of an interface, it's kind of like the computer, the ports on the computer. The port on the computer is the boot up method. What goes on inside of here is not actually part of the interface. It's part of the program, okay? But it's not part of the interface. So that's what we want to keep in mind. What do you want to reveal as part of your class? How much do you want to reveal and how much do you not want to reveal? And that's what we're wanting to keep in mind. And just the part where you interact with it by calling creating either a function or a class. What's the interface is what we want to keep in mind. But now I have this abstract class. What an abstract class is basically when you put abstract in front of class, it means you cannot instantiate it. In other words, you cannot create an object out of it. So if I tried to say this like computer A equals new computer, it gives you an error here. It says abstract classes cannot be created with a new expression. So in other words, you cannot do anything by creating an object out of this class. So what's the purpose of it? The purpose of it is to use it as a guideline. So basically it is the blueprint for another class which you will actually use that you can create an object out of it. So I'm going to say class slow computer implements. Here's the new keyword, implements. This is for interface. Implements computer. So what it says is that this is the class that I'm going to be able to create an object out of it. I'm going to be able to instantiate it or create an instance of the class. In order to do that, because we're talking about interface, you have to copy the entire interface from the superclass. This is the subclass, superclass. You have to copy everything inside of there. Remember, that's different from extends, which was hierarchy. Automatically, this is already imported basically into, if you used extends, into the subclass. But it's different because in the superclass for hierarchy, what you're actually talking, excuse me, inheritance. Did I say hierarchy? Inheritance. When we talk about the superclass for inheritance, the methods and the instance variables are equally important, not just the interface, but actually this information inside here is important, right? So if I did extends, keeping this method is intact is important because that's what I want. But in interface, I don't really necessarily want that. So I could say, I don't really care for any of this stuff right here. I'm just going to say return string. So, hi, hello. And I think, let me format this real quickly. So I still have the same interface, right? So I still have the same method name, but I have, excuse me, sorry guys. But I'm returning a different value altogether. Because remember, With interface, it's not that you're not concerned with the thing inside. It's not that you don't care about the computer inside the box, but that's not what you're trying to show when it comes to the interface. So whenever we talked about application programming interfaces, right? We mentioned that API in the past. Whenever you have an API, you have to make sure that all of these things are these APIs, these interfaces are still intact. They may do different things. You may change them altogether, but at least they're there. And so when you try calling it up here and you say um, slow computer A equals new slow computer, and then you try to say print, no, actually A dot boot up. Actually, you'd have to, no, that'll be perfectly fine. It should be off. Oh, A dot boot up. Oh, it's not printing it. I'm sorry. A dot boot up. Power is null. Boot up would equal, well, it doesn't actually make a difference. It would be hello anyway, right? So it would actually be hello. So that's the concept of interface, how you actually interact with it. A couple of other things to keep in mind. Remember when we talked about inheritance, we talked about, unless you used mixins, it was single inheritance. Every subclass has only one superclass, aside from mixins, right? With interface, that's actually not the same. So basically, with interface, what you want to do is you want to inherit all, or you want to basically bring back all of the interfaces from here, from class case, as well as class computer. So basically, you need this as well. Down inside there. Bool color. What's, oh, string color. Let's say case. So there's no naming conflict. Okay. So color case, string color. That's kind of a conflict anyway. But I guess we get the same concept, right? So you can implement the interface from any and all of these, but just remember, I don't think I mentioned this before, if you're going to implement this, you have to basically implement the abstract class or the superclass in its entirety. You can't pick and choose. You have to do everything. Okay, so just keep that in mind. So the abstract class might want to keep it minimum, but the most important members you want to have inside of there. That every subclass you absolutely have to have power, USB, PS2, video. The rest may be optional. Just keep the minimum amount in the abstract class. And note that a superclass does not have to be an abstract class. Okay, so it doesn't have to be, but if you really want to be very precise and don't let the programmer, which may or may not be you, if you don't want to let the programmer instantiate the superclass, just make sure to make it abstract. Okay, hope that was helpful. And we'll keep moving on as time goes by. I think we're almost finishing up with classes soon. Thank you.